Have you ever started acting colder the moment you realized you actually cared about someone? Not because they hurt you, not because you lost interest, but because one day their reply suddenly had the power to change your entire mood. You notice it in the smallest moments. They send you something sweet. You stare at it. You want to answer immediately. Instead, you wait. Then you type something shorter than what you actually feel. Not uninterested, just suddenly aware that you can be hurt. That is when the strange shift begins. Before you got attached, talking to them felt easy. You joked more. You said what you thought. You double texted without turning it into a courtroom inside your head. Then something changes. Now you reread their messages. You notice when their tone feels slightly different. You remember exactly how long they took to reply yesterday. And the more they start to matter, the less you let them see that they matter. You become harder to read, harder to reach, harder to reassure. The person who once said everything now starts saying, "It's fine," even when it clearly isn't. Not cold, just trying to regain control. Because attachment does something uncomfortable. It gives another person access to parts of you that were previously protected by indifference. When you didn't care, there was nothing to lose. Now, there is. And some people don't know how to handle that feeling without becoming suspicious of it, so they pull back. Not because they want distance, because closeness has started feeling dangerous. Picture this. Your phone lights up with their name. A few weeks ago, seeing it made you smile. Now you pause before opening it. You don't want them to know you were waiting. You don't want your excitement to become evidence, so you let the notification sit there. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe longer. Then you answer casually. Lol, yeah, as if your heart wasn't racing 2 minutes ago. And if that sounds familiar, think about the last person who made you suddenly become less like yourself. Did you actually become colder? Or did you become more careful because now they could reach somewhere deeper? Because this pattern gets even stranger. The colder you act, the more you may secretly be hoping they notice. And that is where the real trap begins. The first thing people like this do is hide the reaction before they hide the feeling. Something affects them. They feel it instantly. Then they cover it instantly. You send them a message that makes them smile. Their first instinct is warmth. Their second instinct is restraint. So the reply becomes smaller, shorter, safer, not detached. Just editing themselves in real time. Because a warm reaction can feel like revealing how much access you have. And once they start protecting that access, even ordinary moments become tests. You cancel plans. They say, "No worries," but something changes. They don't ask when you're free again. They don't sound angry. They simply become quieter, not unaffected, just refusing to chase reassurance they suddenly need. This is where people often misunderstand them. They assume silence means they don't care. But sometimes, silence appears precisely because they care too much to sound needy. So, instead of saying, "That actually hurt," they become busy. Instead of asking, "Are we okay?" they act like they forgot to notice. Instead of admitting, "I missed you," they wait to see if you say it first. And every time they wait, they call it protecting their peace. But sometimes it isn't peace. Sometimes it's fear wearing a calm face. The second pattern is even more confusing. They start creating distance right after intimacy. You have a long conversation. They tell you something they rarely tell anyone. For a few hours, they feel closer to you than usual. Then, the next day, something shifts. Their energy drops. Their messages feel flatter. They suddenly seem embarrassed by how open they were. Not bored, just exposed. Because emotional intimacy can leave certain people with a delayed panic. In the moment, opening up feels natural. Afterward, they replay everything. "Why did I say that?" End quote. "Did I tell them too much? Do they see me differently now?" And suddenly, being close feels less romantic than being visible. So they pull away from the exact person they were just reaching toward. If you've ever watched someone become distant immediately after a genuinely good moment, remember that. Sometimes the distance starts after the connection becomes real. Now, look deeper. The third pattern is control, disguised as independence. They want to know they can leave before they feel trapped, so they never lean completely. They always keep a little emotional exit unlocked. They may check your phone constantly for a reply, then ignore you for hours. They may miss you intensely, then disappear when you get too close. They may crave reassurance, then reject it when you offer too much. Not independent, just terrified of needing what they cannot control. And this creates a painful contradiction. The more attached they become, the more unpredictable they can appear. Because every feeling creates two impulses. Move closer. Protect yourself. Move closer. Pull away. Want them. Hide it. And eventually, the person on the other side starts feeling confused. They wonder what changed. They wonder if they did something wrong. But the cold person often wants to ask the exact same question. They just refuse to be the first one to say it. Think about the last time you became distant from someone you secretly wanted closer. Did you lose interest? Or did you start measuring every move because suddenly losing them would actually hurt? Because the final pattern is the hardest one to admit. Sometimes they become cold before the other person has done anything wrong. They don't wait for rejection. They prepare for it. They notice a tiny change in tone, a delayed reply, a plan that gets canceled, and their mind quietly begins building an exit. Not because they know you're leaving, just because being surprised by it feels worse. So they leave emotionally before you get the chance. And the most uncomfortable part is this. They may call it losing feelings, when what they are actually losing is the ability to feel safe while having them. Here is the twist. People who act cold after getting attached are not always running away from the person. Sometimes they are running away from the version of themselves that attachment creates, the version that waits for notifications, the version that cares about tone, the version that can be disappointed. Before attachment, they feel powerful because nothing reaches them. After attachment, suddenly, one person can. And that exposure can feel like weakness. So they try to become the person they were before they cared. Less available, less expressive, less affected. But you cannot become indifferent by pretending not to feel. You can only make the person who cares about you feel shut out.